Hey everybody, this is the team for the O365 Pulse. Happy to have you guys here. Got Adam, Tamara, Tom, and Jennifer. So we are excited to share with you this week's updates, 54 updates. So we are going to start with what is in development, and we're going to nerd out first. Adam, Team Adam, we've missed you. We know you've been in conferences and been in events, so why don't you let us know what is coming in development for the Microsoft roadmap?
Sure, I'll pick one that I thought was kind of cool. It's not the most nerdy one, but I still think it's pretty neat. Microsoft Teams spam call notifications.
That is cool.
So I use Teams Voice actively since I've been at Planet. It was one of the things where then my team had some customers we're 24/7 with. We give out numbers to clients. That way we can give out a phone number that's not necessarily tied to our direct cell phone. I just have Teams set up. I have the Teams app on my phone. It goes to it directly. You get more spam calls than you'd think. I guess just because it's any other normal published number. But like all the time, I get a call about my extended auto car warranty and stuff like that.
I got a call from the North Pole yesterday. I didn't answer it, but the caller ID said North Pole.
but so it's one of those things for me specifically. Like if I get those on my cell phone, I can kind of be like, whatever. But like this is the number I give out for work, so I feel obligated to answer the phone if it rings because it might be someone that I don't have their contact information saved that has a legitimate reason for getting me. So like there's times that I like leave a meeting to go take a call that's coming in, and it's just like bullshit spam stuff. So the fact that they're going to start identifying with a higher likelihood, it's the basic idea of what many of your cell phones do. If they think that it's likely spam, it will just say spam likely or likely spam when the message is coming in. So the fact that they're going to start doing that is a huge welcome thing for me, something that I'm sure is going to actively impact my day-to-day, just because it's one of the frustrating things I deal with right now for work. So I was really excited when I saw that on the roadmap this week.
Nice.
Awesome. How about you, Tom?
So one of the things that I saw that looks interesting is in SharePoint, Document Library View and File Explorer support in Microsoft Edge. When we stopped using Internet Explorer to a large degree in 2010 and went to SharePoint Online, one of the things that people complained the most about is they were not able to view a document library using Windows File Explorer. And it's like, I don't want to tell you to go back to IE 11, and there's problems with that, especially now. But gosh, yeah, right, that was a cool feature, and sorry, you don't have it anymore. Well, guess what? You're going to be able to enable a Microsoft Edge policy called configure the view in File Explorer feature for Microsoft page or SharePoint pages in Microsoft Edge. That is a long policy. Update the tenant configuration, and now you're going to be able to do that. One click, boom, here's your library in File Explorer. I think that is a really cool thing, and it's another reason why people should be looking. Well, it's probably
right now. For now,
yeah, I use Chrome as my primary one because I had problems with Edge some time back. I really need to switch back to Edge because that's really where all the cool stuff is happening in terms of integrating within the M365 environment. So, but yeah, that's a cool feature, I think.
I got one. Microsoft Project. Allow Microsoft 365 users to provide progress updates on their assigned tasks.
I'm so excited about this.
Yeah, this one's really cool. So Microsoft 365 licensed users can mark their project for web task complete and change their % complete for their tasks without a project license. So this is cool. So if you have an M365 user license, so E5, and you have that license, the M365 license, you can be assigned a task in project, but not have to be a Microsoft project license user, because let's be honest, I can be assigned a task, I can be part of a project, but I don't need all the power of Microsoft project. I don't need to be running the Gantt charts. Let's be honest, if I go in there, I am going to mess it up. So leave that to the people who know what they're doing, let them have the power, but let the users update their task. That is just a beautiful scenario. That's what it should be. So all project managers scream hallelujah. So did the licensing people. So I think that's a great one that is in development. So I think that's a cool one. How about you, Tamara?
Well,
I
Microsoft
probably
Teams.
took yours. I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. I have a myriad of them to choose from. Microsoft Teams scale Teams live events to 100,000 attendees. So 100,000 Teams live, or 100,000 Teams live event attendees are now supported when you engage the Microsoft Leap team for assistance producing and delivering your event. And this is supposed to come out in the end of September of this year. So you work with Microsoft and you can take it from 20,000 to 100,000.
So if you and your closest football stadium want to get together, you now can.
And their
Exactly.
competition.
Well, I
You
should
say
use
that,
free-
you say that, Adam, but we have plenty of customers that are over 20K.
No, I mean,
yeah.
I agree with that. We definitely do, but still seems like a lot.
Well,
But
every
think about
time
it, if you want to have a town hall meeting,
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
you want to do
exactly-
something like that, and think about it, it says for assistance producing and delivering, you know that it's for assistance producing and delivering just so they can start gauging what's happening. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it seems like every time we've said, oh my gosh, who wants to have 1,000 people in a chat? And all of a sudden they roll out, oh, here's your 1,000. And you're like, oh, yeah, I guess that is a use case now. And so, yeah, I'm sure, as you said, if you want to have those kind of things where people can join from throughout the world or, whatever. Yeah, just right now you look at that number and you think, oh my God, that is huge. Because it
It's
is.
not. I mean, there's many organizations that have that many people and want to do an internal town hall or want to do one of these events. And so
Exactly.
No, it makes sense. And it makes sense. I like that you have to reach out to them for assistance delivering and producing, because you're connected to them if something goes, oh bother.
Right.
They'll probably make sure that somebody doesn't hit the stop button in the middle of doing it.
The presenter's
that was
not
a
going to be, you know.
Um,
So I have a couple more ones. I actually
Go for it.
identified a lot. So I'll do one or two more, then I'll pause and see if anyone else has. If not, I'll do a third. So I thought this was kind of cool. I was a little confused when I first read it, but it makes sense. So it was a Microsoft Stream update. So I was always kind of confused on where Stream was fitting in the future of 365, because like it was kind of going away. Right now, if you record videos, it saves to your OneDrive instead of going through and putting them in Stream. But the update says generate captions for a video uploaded to SharePoint or OneDrive. Essentially, if you have edit permissions to that SharePoint site or to your own OneDrive or another person's OneDrive, whatever, they're going to make it so with one click of a button, you can go in and basically add captions to a video that was recorded and uploaded through Stream into your OneDrive. I think this is pretty cool with the idea of going through and doing it. I already love the idea of getting the transcripts. You could go through and find stuff. We have one customer we just started working with who literally wants every single meeting recorded, and they go back and watch them later. So the fact that you can go through and add closed captions and stuff to it, which is what click of a button, is kind of cool. That's set to come out December of this year for everyone, so we'll see.
That was going to be my other one, so yeah, go for it.
Sure, I'll just keep throwing them out then. So slightly more nerdy, but one that I thought was cool. So this is already a thing in commercial, but for GCC and GCC High, they are furthering the integration of data loss prevention and cloud app security together. The reason this is really cool, cloud app security does a myriad of things in the cloud, but one of the things it does kind of uniquely that not a lot of the other services of the Microsoft suite do is it gets integration and idea into non-Microsoft apps. So if you're trying to get the idea of shadow IT or what else is being consumed in your org, Cloud App Security is what does that. Well, with DLP being further integrated in with Cloud App Security, you're actually going to start being able to put DLP policies and stuff in play in some of those third-party apps that don't exist. So I see this as a complete win for an organization that is consuming 365 as a primary mechanism of what they do online in the cloud, but maybe have other apps that they depend on and do stuff. If you're a big org, you probably have your own security team, your own compliance team that's going through and doing that. If you're a smaller company, and I work with a ton of smaller companies that have compliance needs now, it's probably a lot for your IT staff to, okay, they've had some policy they've done in 365. Now they have to figure out a way to do similar stuff in other technology sets too. The fact that this integration is going to allow you to take what you've already put in place and structured with your DLP in 365 and extend it to some other third-party apps, I think is an absolute win for some of the compliance focused customers out there. A final one for me, I'm also kind of a nerdy one. DoD, GCC High, again, this is something that you can already see in commercial. But for MIP, for Microsoft Information Protection, you're now going to have conditions that make it easier to auto-label emails. So if you go through and do labeling, auto-labeling is a super powerful thing when you're talking about the world of labeling and compliance and things along those lines. It's been getting a lot of improvements over the last year. If you watch the show, we've talked about how they're working on removing the limit of 10 things that you can auto label to. Well, essentially for our government customers, they're going to basically make it easier for you to label emails. So you can do stuff like, okay, I want to apply a label if this email's going to a certain person. So one of the things we see often is maybe you're a bank and you have a requirement that you have to encrypt data when you're sending to this other bank. Well, you could kind of written an exchange transport rule to add Office 365 message encryption stuff to it. Well, now you can do a label that adds encryption into the label itself and go through an auto label and apply something like that to handle it. Just another way to do it, another way to address it, and kind of cool to see. All right, I'm gonna stop. Anyone else have anything?
I'm done with in development. So
I'm done with this section.
All right.
Well,
I'm done with
cool.
in
All right,
development
on
and
rolling out.
rolling out.
Tom, what is rolling out that you are excited about?
a bunch of geeky stuff that I don't understand or know about. So I'm going to pass my turn on to three other people who are probably more intelligent than I am in this particular category.
It's not an exciting week this week for rolling out.
No, it is not.
Adam, this might be all you. I'm not going to lie.
Sure. Well, so there's a couple things that's going out, but I'll focus on one that I thought was really cool, again, kind of in the compliance labeling area. So another MIP update, enhanced simulations and location support for auto labeling. Again, another autoing one. This is for SharePoint Online and OneDrive for Business. Basically, the idea is, I just kind of mentioned this earlier, but historically, auto labeling has limited to 10 locations, which is okay. But if you're a large organization, you fill up those 10 locations pretty quick. But they're basically making it so that you can do it to as many locations as you want. If you think about it, if you only have 10 locations, if you decide you want to auto label one person's OneDrive, that's one of your 10 locations. The reason this matters for me, training users is hard. Anytime you're going through and you're looking at compliance where people have to do certain things and that you have to go through and handle it, compliance is all a people, process, policy, and it's also what you do with the technology. Well, say I'm a hospital and I have HIPAA information. Well, one, I hope your colleagues understand HIPAA in a hospital world, but training your users on top of how they have to use this new technology, on how they should best collaborate, to also know to go in and apply a label when it's relevant and how to remove a label if they need to share it externally with policies, that's a lot of work to train a whole bunch of people that may not be the most tech savvy. So auto labeling is a very elegant solution to that. You define the parameters of when something needs to be made, and then I can train my users. Oh, you have something that's, has patient records in it. Put it in this SharePoint site, and then if it's in the SharePoint site, it gets labeled. They don't need to know how to do the labeling themselves. They just need to know that they put it in the site. Something like that is much easier to train your users on. But again, for large organizations, if you're limited to 10 locations, that got kind of hard. So this is just an update going through and talking about. It's scheduled for August of this year, which is now, of removing the auto labeling sections. So this is something I was actually super excited about because I work a ton in the security world now, and this just makes my life easier, and it's going to make a ton of customers' lives easier when they're going down that path on their own. So super excited to do that. We'd already talked about it when it was in development, but nice to see it continuing to move down the roadmap. I'd be a little worried if it was still set for August and still in development. So nice to see it moving.
Awesome. Well, really the rest of it is nothing super crazy. I don't think anything that anyone really looking for. So no major updates. How about launched? Tom, do you got anything in launched?
Sure, a couple things. In Microsoft Teams, for both iOS and Android, you should now be able to have your inline message translation in channels. So basically, if you're working mobile and you've got a chat going in there and somebody sends you something in French, you can like press and hold the channel post or reply and select translate, and it's going to be able to translate it to your UI language of choice by default. I think that is a really cool thing, especially if you are working multinational and you're dealing with groups that may not have English as primary language, in my case, or somebody needs to go from French to Hindi or something like that. I think that is a really cool feature and allows teams to now be more functional to more people in that type of a scenario. The other thing that is rolled out now is the Microsoft Teams attendee dashboard. That is really cool because now you can measure meeting and webinar registration and attendance data in the dashboard without having to download the Excel file, which had all the information in it. So next time you have a meeting, again, I believe this only affects you if you are the meeting organizer, which I'm hoping to kind of roll that out to where others will be able to get to it. But it's a nice way to get a quick overview without having to deal with files and stuff when it all comes out. I'm sure Tamara probably has more knowledge about that one because she's probably used that quite frequently.
Tamara lives in meetings.
Yes, she does. In Teams.
Look at my calendar. It looks like Skittles all over. Just taste the rainbow.
But that's it for
me.
I've
got one. SharePoint swapped the root site for sites with more than 10,000 seats. So that's one. You used to be able to do it. You could do it if you had less than 10,000 seats, but now if you have more than 10,000 seats, you can swap your root site, which is good. It allows you to kind of build a new root site that you want and then swap it out. So that's good. That's now launched and available.
Great. And I'd like to point out Microsoft Teams guest access in DoD. So Teams now supports guest access between tenants inside of the DoD cloud, which means the different branches of the military and other people who are on the Department of Defense tenant can actually go back to communicating with each other again.
So happy.
It makes
cross means we're next, Tamara.
easier.
We're next.
Yes. Yes, it's coming. Slowly but surely, it's coming. That's the thing that's got me all Twitter-pated.
One other one I'll just throw out there since I didn't speak in the last category. And Outlook suggested reply language support has been added. So if you want suggested replies in additional languages, including Korean, Russian, Hungarian, Arabic, and Hebrew, you can now get those languages to come up.
So doing that today.
Yeah,
I want to change all of my suggested replies to Korean.
To Russian. Niet, 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 niet.
Yep.
I can do this. Not a problem.
Oh, I love it.
I have one. This is not even the most nerdy, but I just think it's cool to see. They've now officially launched the Microsoft Cloud App Security App Governance add-on. Governance is a huge important thing. I think it's as you look as organizations grow in the world of IT, it's typically not necessarily the first thing they're doing, although there's an argument to be made that it should be early on. But as organizations get more comfortable and get mature in their offerings, governance becomes a more pressing thing and something that's important. I know all four of us deal with governance in our day-to-day jobs and routinely talk with, whether it be end users or customers, whatever it is, about the importance of making those decisions and having an overall, process about how you're deciding stuff and how you're dictating stuff. It's just nice to see Microsoft putting some love there as well too. Obviously, governance is important and organizations should be doing it. And if they have proper governance behind it, they're going to be more likely to have solid IT policies, less likely to have leaks of data that don't want to have leaks and stuff. But Microsoft specifically put in an add-on that is designed around driving governance for applications inside of Cloud App Security. It's just a cool thing to see. I was excited when I saw them announce it as a feature. Just know it's now launched and officially available out there for for standard tenants of going through and looking at them for commercial. And again, like, it's one of those things that I think as organizations continue to grow in the cloud, this will be something that people have the option to go through and look at. And where, again, I see the value here, and this has kind of colored my perception over the last, 4 or 5 years. The smaller customers, I see this as a big win for. I've worked with customers that have 50,000, 70,000 users before. They have governance teams. They have people that they can pay to do this. The organizations that are, sub 500 people may not. And so organizations like that maybe it's someone who's an IT person or someone who's an account manager that reads about governance and decides it's something that they need, but doesn't really have the processes in place to put it together, or maybe doesn't have the buy-in from leadership. Having Microsoft develop tools that make it easier, that guide them, that give them structure, I see as a complete win. So I was just excited to see that go to launch this week.
Very cool. Anything else for launched?
I'm good.
Well, cool. Then we have a duplicate that's been canceled, so we know that doesn't mean anything. So Microsoft Defender for Endpoint Network Device Discovery has been canceled because it's a duplicate, so that doesn't mean anything. So that is what we have today. Those are your 54 updates. I'd say nothing too overly exciting this week, just kind of business as normal. So we will be back next week. Tom, what number is this? Is this 99?
97 or 8, I think.
97 or 8.
Hold
We're
on.
getting to 100, y'all. We're getting there. So
yeah, of
So
course.
close.
The one thing I need to have come up here so I can see it. Pulse copy paste. The last one I sent out said 97, so this will be episode 98.
98, episode 98. Next one will be 99 balloons and then 100. So awesome. I'll put red balloons as my background next week.
99 red dun 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 dun.
We do not own the rights to this music.
Join in 2 weeks. It's Tom thing.
I'll see you guys
All right,
next
everybody.
week.
Have a
Bye,
good
everyone.
one. Bye now.
Bye, guys.